Good morning, Internet. It is Brett and Coach here, and it is our last day in Copenhagen, but of course, like we were in the beginning, it is going to be raining. Hopefully our walk to the airport, or at least to the train, won't be too wet, but first, before we get going out of our hotel, coffee. Can't really complain about the rain though, considering every other day was probably the nicest days it's been this summer here in Denmark. Every single day was 75 degrees or warmer, perfectly sunny. So if only our first day and our last day are rainy, I guess I'll count it as a win.
So join me today as I fly from Copenhagen to Basel, Switzerland, then take a second flight from Basel to Rijeka, get our first sights of the city, as well as a room tour of where we're staying.
We only have less than an hour to go get coffee, which is only like a 10-minute walk where we want to go, get back to the hotel and check out all before 11.
We went to Original Coffee, which was only a couple blocks away. It was a cute little coffee shop with a lot of students appeared to be working, with some delicious pastries as well. We did have to get our pastries and coffee to go, but before we left the coffee shop, I wanted to look at the books. So we just enjoyed our breakfast in the lobby.
Goodbye, Copenhagen.
I opted for another chocolate croissant. But before long, we had to fully check out and leave for the train.
Only a few drops of rain so far, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can make it to the train without it starting to downpour.
Luggage on these cobblestones, rough. We made it to the train station without getting soaked, but luggage on escalators is not fun. And then we had to take one train to make a connection, which we jumped on our first train, which was right on time. And then we made our connection to head to the airport, with all of our bags in tow. And that's when it fully started to rain, but luckily we were still dry. And this train takes us directly into the airport. And then it was time to fully check in and drop off our bags. So glad we didn't get soaked though. We were right on time to a very busy airport.
Managed to check in using the self-kiosk and get our bags tagged, but now we're trying to figure out where we actually drop our bags off because it feels like there are no signs directing for that. Made it through security without any issues, and now we're off to figure out what our gate is. And right after security is the duty-free store, and the predicament I currently have is I have 50 crown left, and it's trying to find something that's less than that.
Luckily I found this 7-Eleven that had sandwiches for a decent price. They weren't that bad.
And we're still waiting for our gate just because we arrived pretty early, so they said we'll get our gate information in about 10-15 minutes.
It wasn't too long until we were told what gate we would be departing of, and we headed there. And soon enough, it was time to fully say goodbye to Copenhagen and board the plane. It does look like my bag may get a little wet. Don't forget to touch the outside of the plane for good luck. Surprisingly, we were not significantly delayed because of the weather. And don't worry, I will be doing a full airport and flight review for my flight from Copenhagen to Basel. Stay tuned for next video. It was a very quick flight, and by the time we were up in the air, we were basically landing here in Basel, with much better weather. Exited the plane right on the tarmac, and we were ushered into the airport. It's always fun to see the grounds crew at work. But it's time to head into the airport to catch our next flight. My bag is wet again. Hopefully how I packed will be a little bit better, and hopefully things will not be wet inside.
What we think we figured out is that we don't have to go through customs because we're not leaving the airport, but trying to check in and drop off our bags for our next flights, there's really no signage that gives you any form of clear direction on where to go. So we're kind of either guessing by biding our time and hopefully somebody will just come up and help us, or we either have to wait in a really long line, which may just be the incorrect line to begin with. So hopefully we'll figure it out soon. Made it through a mildly hectic security. Luckily everything for us went pretty smoothly. It was the people before us had a couple too large toiletries, which caused a little bit of a delay, and we didn't have to go through customs through Switzerland or France. We were just kind of ushered back in to the main part of the airport. So now off to find our gate and wait around to our next flight. So we are nowhere really near the gate quite yet, and we checked the flight status on our phones, and it already has a 30-minute delay.
And those delays slowly added up,
After what feels like a very long wait in this airport, we are finally starting to board.
We'll also be doing a review video for Basel's airport, as well as my flight experience. But soon enough, we were on the plane and off to Rijeka. For now, it was time to get in the skies. It was so beautiful to see the sunset while in the sky, and seeing all the little towns light up below us. This was another quick flight, so welcome to Rijeka, Croatia.
We walked off the plane directly onto the one runway tarmac and then was basically ushered immediately into baggage claim. And then I believe after baggage claim there's a really quick like 1-lane customs and then we should be all set for Croatia. Yeah, so there just wasn't customs. We just literally walked outside.
And waiting in Basel, Switzerland for our flight, we figured out that there was a bus that will take us directly from the airport to the center of the city.
We're off the shuttle bus. Just kind of unceremoniously dropped us off in the middle of the city, and now we're taking about a 15-minute walk to where we're staying tonight.
First impressions of Rijeka is that it's a very picturesque city, especially at night. And we will be exploring this area much throughout the week here in Croatia.
After struggling to get into our little apartment hotel room for probably over an hour because none of the phone numbers worked and it had a 4-digit code to get the keys, it felt like almost the worst escape room I've ever been in just because there was no clues, no phone number. We had to call the booking site that we went through, was on hold for about 30 minutes, and then finally all the information came through. So with that, I'm going to give you a very sweaty and very quick hotel tour to end the night. So right from the front door is immediately the bed. Looks like a pretty good size. Pretty firm though. Then there's some art on the wall. Then we have a little kitchenette. We also have a couple mugs, paper towels, some stuff to do dishes, and a little light in our kitchen. Some drawers, and then there's a fridge and a little stove as well. Not sure how much cooking we'll actually be doing. Under the sink here, we have a little trash can and a medical kit. In the drawers, some basic cutlery it looks like. Underneath, pots, pans, bowls, toaster, strainer, a water kettle. Don't know how much use we'll get out of that. Little desk area, storage, and a TV. Within the cabinet, it looks like an extra blanket. The last thing we really have for rooms is the bathroom. So pretty standard. Little shower right here, and I think this is a washing machine, so hopefully we can use that and have some cleaner clothes. It's a pretty sizable room for a little apartment. I don't think it would be big enough to live in permanently, but like a nice little, very echoey home for the next few days here in Rijeka, Croatia. I'm just gonna interrupt this little bit of a room tour for future me to step in. I've been here for about 2-3 days now, and there's some things that don't quite make a whole lot of sense in this apartment and weren't as apparent from first glance. Let me show you. First off, the TV is at a very skewed angle. Like if you film it like this, it looks sort of okay, but it's really very not level. Secondly, I would say this apartment got what I call the landlord special, where when one person moves out and the next person moves in, that in between time, they fully paint everything. In this case, not just the walls and ceiling, the hinges, the door frames, all the wooden framing, anything painted directly over it, thus making this front door very hard to get in and out of because it jams because the hinges are full of paint. So, where did this chunk of the door frame go? And it was just clearly landlord specialed over. So my biggest pet peeve of this whole place that doesn't work or isn't what you would notice first glance, I was on this side of the bed. I did move one of the little stools over here for an end side table, thinking that this outlet would work. It doesn't. Sorry for thinking that my outlet would work. Next up, the bathroom. What is this? And why is it duct taped to the wall? And then for the shower, this one has a handle, no big deal. This one has 2 pieces of duct tape. Also, what's on this wall? Is that healthy? Should I be able to breathe in this room? Or is this more of a health concern? I'm not trying to be overcritical about these things. It's just once you spend the night here, once or twice, you definitely pick up on them, and it's the little things that can go a long way. We understand this is an Airbnb type style and it's not an actual hotel, but these little things make you question once in a while. With that, this is Brett and Coach signing off for the night. It is time for a shower, maybe some water, and crash until tomorrow morning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great rest of your night.